So hello and welcome to the Iceni Challenge Race Series. Now, as you can see, I am not Emma Martin. In fact, Emma is away on international duty. Now at Full Speed Events, we do have, fortunately, other commentators like me. And when we had the chance to get Emma into the role of being the very first female lead on the UCI Para Road Cycling World Championships, well, it was a chance too good to miss to help bring on lots more equality across cycling in lots of different disciplines. It's something we've been working very hard for. So it does mean that I've had to step in, which is an absolute pleasure to be here. My name is Matt Payne, and you may recognise me from putting words to the action, things like the Donny Chain Gang, as well as the Wow Chain Gang, lots of other esports, as well, of course, as bringing new action on lots of different disciplines. I'm really looking forward to this because I've been watching avidly all of the Boudica, all of the Iceni, a fantastic race series brought to you by the Warrior Games. We've got Aeonium Race Team powering it behind the scenes. And, of course, the broadcast brought to you by the legendary ZMS Esports Studio. The next level streaming. Adding to that, our support at Full Speed Events with the Support the Sport. We really do like to support the sport as a entity, and everybody behind the scenes at Full Speed Events helping making that happen. So an absolute pleasure to be part of that and helping to bring you this fantastic race series named after the Iceni. I've actually been to a replica Iceni village when I was much, much younger, and that has stayed with me ever since. And that battling spirit is going to be very, very necessary. A few more hills today than there were out in the area of the Iceni, but we will see if we're going to get our riders rising to the top. It is, of course, a 4-race series in the Iceni race series. So our very first one was the Castle Crit, 15.5k, 175 meters of climbing. We got the second of our challenges was the Canopies and Coastlines, 27.8k, 232 meters. As you can see, though, the meters increasing as we come into Challenge 3, shorter route, great new route introduced about 3 months ago. Coastal Crown Loop, 23.6 kilometers with 266 meters of climbing. And that means that today is going to be a day for the climbers. This is going to be about making sure you know how to ride those hills, how to ride those descents, how to make sure that you stay in the groups at the right times. And of course, our fourth challenge, well, Loop the Loop, it's 2 laps, 145 meters of ascent, so a flatter route, but it's 25 kilometers nearly long, so it's a real balance. All the points add up across the race series, so those points being added together to bring those leaders' totals to the end of the series, and the rider with the most points is the rider who's going to be taking away the victory. Now, we have 2 time zones for the races in Iceni, and of course, there are lots of different riders competing in both of those. Earlier on today, we had some great racing in the Coastal Crown Loop area, and that really did give us some really interesting race action. So whether you're racing at the 9 o'clock UK or the 1500 UK zone, you're going to be able to work out whether or not you've got a head start by knowing exactly how long it takes. Now, today's route, let's do the route first of all. This is a lap and a half almost of this circuit. So essentially, when we come out of the pens, we ride into the right hand side of that course profile. We climb up the very first of our climbs. That is the Mayan Mountainside QOM, and that's where the first points are available. 25 points down to 1 as you go through, and that is a fastest time through the segment. We then come up and we join the second part and the second climb. That's the Itza QOM. It really is a QOM, and that then is a slightly longer climb, 3.75 kilometers rather than 2k. That takes our riders to the top, to the highest point of the course. They then drop back down again, and then we finish after we have done our Itza QOM, which is a fastest across the line, to the final segment, which is back up the Mayan Mountainside QOM. So basically, we're going to do the climb on the right, then the climb on the left, then we're going to do the climb on the right. And the final point, 75 down to 1, meaning the maximum points available today are 125 points. That could make a big, big difference to those point scores. We've got to say a big thank you to the team at whatsonzwift.com for the map and the profile data. And remember, of course, make sure you follow the people who support your sport. They're helping make it all happen. Now, let's see how those points translate across, because, of course, 125 points sounds a lot, but you've got to be riding right the way through the series to score in all of them to get the very highest point scores as you make your way in through. And our riders have been racing all the way through the season on our first two series, amassing points so far. So our current rider standings in all four categories, and we're bringing you all four categories here, of course, on the ZMS eSports stream here. Well, in the live leaderboard at the moment, all these are provisional at the moment because they are quite literally as they come hot off the presses. Jill Pruitt leading from Gemma Thompson and Tina Jareth. The riders in the earlier race today, well, they did a 37-minute time for this course that we're doing today. Can our Category A riders match that? In our Category Bs, Randy Gino, Becca Nielsen and Angelique Nell are our top three in there. You can see, though, that we have a lot of riders stacked below the two leading riders, so the only two riders going over that 200-point marker. In Category C, Lily Franken from Zuka Meskova and then Nicola Smith behind. Closer points gaps in Category C at the moment. And when we look at that 125 points, a good point score today is going to really, really help riders in all of those categories. And in Category D, where Céline Sauvage, Natalie Taylor and Sonia Weber are the riders who are going to be leading out the categories as we leave the pens today and head out onto the course. All these points will be updated as we go through. And a big thank you to everybody behind the scenes at ZMS who are making these points translate into something that we can see, I can tell you about, and of course that you can then go and look at on the Zwift Power. The Zwift Power, of course, the place to catch up with all of the race results. So you can see our Category A, B, C and D riders already lined up down there, with Category A on the way out from the pens at the moment. And you can just see a solo rider out on the front at the moment, and that is just opening up the gap. So going to be really interesting to see how this plays out. This could be a big old point score today. The other riders still sat in the pens here today as we head out on to the course here today. So 0.1k covered of the 23.6k course. 3 power-ups today. They are going to be available to our riders. And if you've been watching or if you've ridden on Zwift, you will know that those power-ups make a massive, massive difference to your riding and where you are going to be. So, at the moment, Category A, Tina Jareth of What Fabric out on the front, leading the way in and through, as Category B make their way out from the pens here. Category B, the first step down from that Category A, big pack of riders already. Riders getting distance out the back now. Sitting in the draft is really, really key. Great to see the display here as these riders head out. We can see that we're in with Alan at the moment of West CC from Canada. You can see the watts, the power, the speed that these riders are doing in sitting in the pack, not getting distance at this stage. Really, really key. As we come out from the pens, we go down that long straight into that left-hand turn and head out on the coastal course here. The first part of this course is relatively flat, really, really critical as we watch Susan Allen here. Great head-up display here from the team at ZMS Esports Studios. Susan Allen kicking out just under 200 watts, just sitting nicely in that pack. Really, really key is to keep in the draft. This is a course that will reward riders that keep their powder dry, that use their power wisely and make sure that they are expending energy at the right time. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean you've got to race non-stop all the way through. It does mean that you do need to be hiding in that pack as much as possible. You can see two of our riders already away in our Category B. They're just popping up on the screen, and we'll be back with them and have another look, I'm sure, on the way through here. We're just in with Angie at the moment, making our way down the course here. This big pack is looking nice and compact. Not too many people pushing too hard here. You can just see the beats per minute, although they're going up. And they're probably not at their highest yet. That's going to happen when we go up on to the climb. They're going to hit the climb before our Category C riders who are away. The third of our waves out from the pen here today. So another big pack here. Good to see some Aeonian jerseys in there. The Aeonian race team run by women for women. Stronger together for riders of all abilities across all categories. And got to say a massive well done to them. The Ionian team putting in a #1 place with Catherine Fuhr on the Zwift World Series on Thursday night. Great ride by her. Really interested to see how she put that power down in that World Series. The Ionian team with riders all the way out and across all categories, racing all the way through the week. And it's actually the team of your regular host, Emma Martin, as well. And great to see them in action. Spearheaded, of course, by Carla Williams and the whole of the Warrior Games series. So the Iceni, the Boudica, and of course the Ionian team all being stitched together by Carla. I've got to say a massive thank you to Carla for the work that she does behind the scenes, making all this happen. So Category C out of the pens, on to the course. Quick reminder, remember that when you hit this race route, you've got this sort of flatter section. I'm not going to call it flat. It doesn't stay that way, although the percentage gradient at the moment on the top right-hand side of your screen, well, that is currently showing the 0%. That means it's flat at the moment. It will not stay that way, that is for sure. And it will change as those riders go in and through. The bit down the coastline, though, well, that's where you want to be. And it's definitely, it's a nicer start than starting partway up and around this route, because once we go on to the first of our climbs, you're really going to feel that. So we're going to make our way in and around. It's a slight dip down before we hit the Mayan Mountain QOM, the first of our mountain sections, and you can just see it's a little bit of a roller coaster for the riders as they make their way out from the pen. Category D, the last of our riders out and away, 600 meters into the course, so a real pack of riders. 13 riders out on course in Category D at the moment. And you can see this is going to be tough. Now, interesting, we've got Savage in here, sitting snugly inside the pack here. She's going to be looking to push on at the top of that points table. She's going to need to ride smart. There'll be plenty of other riders trying to take away that top step. But the Evolution squad looking very, very strong indeed. Going to be very interesting to see how they play this out as they make the way out and round. Good to see a lot of our regular teams in here, as well as one or two different riders. And just taking a detailed look here at Celine Savage. Savage over there on the far right-hand side, you can just see in the bright pink there, looking pretty smooth there. She goes on through, just watching those pedal revs, the cadence, as well as looking at the pace. But at the moment, your leader, well, Aisha Iwa, at the moment, leading out this race on the very front of the race, opening up a gap. And it's an interesting move to move away at this stage. So we will see if that is going to continue. Don't forget you can comment on the YouTube. So the Level ladies, the Level Racing squad, Lisa Hopkins, giving them a shout out on there. Please do put your comments on there. And whilst you're on the YouTube, make sure that you subscribe to the ZMS Esports Studios live stream. Every single subscription, every like, every follow across social media and on the YouTube, making a difference, not just to ZMS, but to everybody else. So you can see up there, hit that subscribe button. Thank you, everybody who has subscribed so far. If you've already done it and you think, can't do it twice, well, do you know what you can do? Grab a friend, introduce them to the ZMS Esports streaming. The team at ZMS Studio bringing you this, giving up their time to make sure that you can enjoy your time watching the racing and really bringing on the racing to a new level. Now, taking a look at Jem Pantaluk and Randy Gino in this bunch here, in this Category B race. Interesting to see riders pushing the anvil in already. Now, that's an interesting move at this stage because the anvil basically increases your weight. So the anvil basically works on a percentage of your body weight, and that basically is more weight is added if you're a lighter rider than if you're a heavier rider. It only comes into effect with over 1.5% gradient descent, but I don't think either of these two riders are going to be pushing those in just yet. They're going to be saving them. Best place to use them, big downhills, and we've got a big downhill because we go on to the grade, the infamous climb, as a descent after we go over our first 2 point scoring opportunities. Category B here, really interesting to see both our riders, both Jen and Randy, looking very, very smooth. And riders across all categories here. Now the pressure going on in Category C. They're on the chase here. Interesting, Nicholas Smith of Synergy, the rider who's sitting in third place in the series, trying to close down as Jenkins goes clear here. So Jenkins starting to open up a little bit of a gap here for the Galaxy squad. This is another big push here, and we're seeing this. It's not sit back and wait for the climbs. There's a lot of people going out. It's a good way to push on. So Natalia Jenkins at the moment, 225 watts. Nice pedal cadence at 88, 87, sitting smooth, really squeezing on those pedals, tapping out a nice rhythm. And that's what we want to see. We want to see really smooth pedaling at the moment, because you don't want to be very much diving into those big power efforts as you come in through. If you do that, that's what you're going to pay when you go up onto the climb. You can't burn that out too soon. So here we go, over the bridge we go. So going to make our way in. It takes us across this bridgeway, currently at 3.8k into this route. Really, really critical for these riders to make sure that they keep a check on who is where. The leading group at the moment, though, is splitting here in Category C, with this chase coming back on again. Top right-hand side of your screen, you can see the map view. That is the radar view. You get a look. Each of those discs is a rider. The rider that we're following is the one that's got the little triangle. You can see it's just a bunch coming through at the moment. No big gaps, no big splits in there. As we take this right-hand turn, Megan Radomski here of the Ionian squad, nicely tucked in this group, holding out of the way, keeping smooth, keeping out of trouble here on the Iceni Challenge Race Series. It's a race number 3 at the moment. And this is about making sure that you keep this smooth and keep the power down. Now, gap opening up. This is a brave move. 24 seconds has opened up from Isha Iwa, who is currently leading this race out from Savage, from Heathcote. And you can see that bunch behind, sitting between 25 and about 28 seconds. The number of riders a little further back looks like AP, just at 1 minute 11. In Category D, this is a really interesting push going on here. The 3 chasing riders here, Heathcote, Savage, and TM at the moment, just breaking a little bit further clear as we go over this little rise. 2% at the moment. It's not leg-snappingly brutal at this stage of what is a very bumpy course. You've got to make sure you roll over all 4 categories out on course. Category A, though, you can see at 6.5 kilometers into this 23.6k route, still tapping along our leader here. So it's Tina Jareth at the moment, going to score big points here, making her way up on to the climb. So Jareth pushing on from What Fabric at the moment, the German rider on the lower slopes here. You can see the fantastic gradient down on the bottom right hand side. Great to see that in isolation, because you can see the gradient 3.5% at the moment. We have got 2 big blocks coming up. You can see the shape of this climb. It's a very similar profile that is repeated over and over again. Shallower, steeper sections. Shallower, steeper sections. As you come in, you'll see the gradient increase. Currently at 2, now going to 3, now going to 4, now going to 5%. That is when the kick comes on. A category rider should be able to handle this, no problems at all. And this is going to be a big point score from Jareth here today in Category A. Going to be sweeping up the points. Going to have to make sure fastest on the way through. Quick reminder, fastest through the segment on the first climb, fastest first across the line. So the first rider over the line in the second segment. So Randy Gino at the moment just taking a little bit of a breather there, and you could just see, just easing off on those pedals, just having put that effort in. Don't lose those wheels. You got to stay in the draft on the way through. Jem Pantaluk taking a look at the screen at the side there. Really interesting. That I always find that really hard. I always want to be looking, trying to get a look straight on, head on at the screen. I know a number of riders are able to look sideways on there. Maybe it's just because I'm really inflexible, but that's great skills there to be able to look sideways. Maybe she is looking over my right shoulder or left shoulder on the track have left me traumatized from doing that. We'll probably find out. It's an old, historically dodgy injury. Right, back into the race in Mayan Mountainside QOM, 6.6k into the race, 2 kilometers in distance. This is going to be really interesting. It's an average gradient of 3% here, and this is really going to tell on the riders. Remember, it's not flat. It is that step. It's the riser round the bends. It's the tread, the flatter sections as you go back down, and we're going to see those kicks coming in. There are a couple of little descents you can see already on the screen coming up as you go round, and being able to change your revs is going to be really, really key here. So you can see Category B on to the first climb on the way in through. The time through here is critical. Fastest time through segment. So approaching the segment, staying at the back of the group. Because if this group stays together at the top, if you're at the back coming in and you're at the front going over the top, you're going to have the fastest time. Sneaky way of doing it in lots of ways, but it does catch people out sometimes. Sometimes you can get away with it. Just starting to see the feather power up go in there. The feather power up 30 seconds. It's 10% taken off your body weight. So that means that you're going to be able to climb better. That power is going to be able to go in, and it's going to give you that little bit of an advantage that will either mean you can go off the front, it might mean that you can stay in the group, or it might mean that you've got a chance of getting back into the group, dependent on where you are and where you use that, whether you're using it defensively or you're using it in terms of being aggressive and taking that race on and taking everybody else on. Now, steeper section coming up here, 5% kick it in as we come in around these Mayan temples here. Really great scenery here as we make our way around this extension to the worlds. These new routes that came in really did open up. Really popular route as well. It's a great racing route, and at the moment Meskova of Galaxy opening up the gap here. 2 seconds to Hasselkuss. It's 2 seconds to Eklund. It looks like Hamilton at 3 seconds. So's Franken and Smith. Overmo is in there as well. That group behind just keeping the tabs on our breakaway riders. But as you can see, Category A already up at the top at 8.4 kilometers covered. The fantastic move going in. This is the banner. This is going to be the time through. It will be the fastest time. You can work that out as well as I can. And that's going to give maximum points here. Will it be faster than categories B, C, and D? That's going to be really interesting to see, because the category B race is pretty flat out at the moment. So is category C, and so is category D. Category D just hitting the base of the climb here, and the chase is on behind. 18 seconds up the road from TM is going to be Aisha or Iwa. All of our women competitors out on course, racing their way around the circuit here. This fantastic course of the course that takes in these two climbs. It takes in this climb twice, so this is a dress rehearsal for the run for the finish line, with those maximum 75 points on offer if you take in away the win. And category D now, the bunch through that start line. That bright red line underneath indicating the start of the climb. It indicates the run for the finish line, and this will be absolutely key as our riders make their way up here, because if they get this right, they're going to know that they've got it dialed this time round. They would know that they're going to be likely to get it dialed next time round. Now, in category B, this aggressive race. Parker at the moment leading now. Becca Nielsen right on the heels here for the coalition squad. You can see the pressure is on now. Randy Gino along with Jem Pantelut really working hard here, staying focused. This is where you've got to keep absolutely dialed. You've got to make sure you know exactly where you're going to be, where you want to be at the moment. Pantelut currently sitting, looks like about 8th place at the moment there. The first of these two riders. You can see her on your screen on the inset. We're following her as the avatar as well. As we come up to the banner, the push goes on. Who's going to score the maximum points on the way through? Who will have the fastest time in category B? Remember, the fastest time won't necessarily come from the first rider over the line. Those points will be allocated out. We'll bring you those as soon as we can. But as they come up, these riders are all over the road here, and it doesn't stop climbing. You've got this fantastic run round the temples here as you come in through. And at the moment, Meskova leading category C. So remember, 4 categories. A, in theory, the fastest category, then B, C, and D. D, the standard category. All of those groups out on the climb. Category A leader over. Category B leaders are over and through the banner. Category C, that polka dot banner is around that right-hand side. This is the first of 3 climbs. The first 2 are for points, and those points run down from 25 down to 1 point across the top 10. Fastest time through segment on this one, number 1. Meskova goes through, followed by Hasselkuss. I think it's going to be very tight time-wise. Franken puts in a little bit of a push here. Remember, top 10 riders scoring points in each of these groups. So it looks like this is going to be critical. Our 10th rider is Cash. And look at this, a massive push comes from Radowski. Radowski want to take that point. There's a point on offer. Radowski pushes over the top. Will that give her a faster time up? Just taking a little bit of a look back. Looks like Armistead coming up to that line just behind Cash. A real explosion in this group. It has distance riders. We can just see as they come in around this turn. Everybody keeping on pushing. Fantastic racing as always in our women's races on Zwift, on esports. The amazing racing here put together by Carla Williams, and you can see everybody there supporting each other within their own teams, but also supporting women's sport, and that is absolutely critical if we one day manage to achieve that parity that has been we've all been fighting for so long. Right, Category D, Isha Iwa at the moment has been passed because I think Taylor now is in the lead, the level of racing rider. Taylor up at the front here, so level racing rider on the front. That shout out by Hopkins working at the moment. Remember, you can comment on the YouTube channel. Get those comments down on there, really, really key. So Category B, this is the fourth of our categories away, the fourth wave of riders away, pushing hard here, 169 beats per minute. Everybody's heart rate is totally individual, but putting out 240 watts consistently here and pushing up this climb, looking to distance Isha Iwa, who got that little bit of a gap. Then it's going to be the teammate of Taylor. It's going to be Zwift, who's just gone past Iwa. Then it's going to be Hannah G from the level racing as well. Looks like Savage in the mix, though. So at the moment, Savage starting to close down. This is going to be really tight when we come in terms of points and where those positions are. Remember, of course, if you come from the back to the front, you're going to be putting in a fastest time through this segment, and that's what counts. When we get to the second part of the climb, so that's the second part up this big climb, it's steeper, it's nastier. It is going to really test our riders. It is a longer climb at 3.8k, and the riders on this part of the course, although they're wanting to give it everything, and you can see those feather flags coming in on that section, it's going to be about making sure it counts. Now, knowing your timing up these climbs is really, really critical. That's one of the great things about riding in all these categories, getting this progression, knowing when to punch in that power up, knowing you've got 15 seconds for an anvil, 30 seconds for your feather, and you've got arrows at 15, something like a steamroller, that's 30 seconds. Knowing all these different timings, you want to punch them in so you get the full benefit of that all the way through at the best time. Now, big kick here coming from Hannah G of a level going over Iwa. Really, really pushing this on. Here we go. This is going to be a kick underneath the banner. So through under the banner goes our first rider. Now, here we go. The next one comes in and through. It Schaefer goes through. You can just see at the back of this train following Marshall, following Sarah J, the herd Heathcote, who's right in the mix as well, and he's right up in terms of points in the overall standings. He's going to come across the line here in 9th place on the road. Will it be 9th place in terms of points? Well, those points will be allocated out. So that is all 4 of our leading groups, our leading riders through the first of the QOMs and on to the road to the second. There's very little distance between these two. Straight into the Itza QOM. It really is. And it is into the race. And as you can see, the top of this climb is going to be really, really key for these riders, because as you come into this, it really starts to test the legs with some bumps. You've got some downhill sections in there, and then it really starts to push up onto the top. So kicking in at 9k, but coming all the way up to the very summit, it's going to be really critical. Remember, this is a 3.8k climb. The gradient, the average gradient, it's not huge, but that is because there's so many downhills, and they, of course, work the other way. That lowers the average gradient, but the steeper sections, looks like Kate here, pushing on at the moment. The OTR racing rider on that 8%, currently at 4, currently at 5. It's his real push here. Remember, 3.75k of this climb in totality, and behind, look at this big bunch here. Feathers going in, really good move being pushed in here, and looks like a real big dig going in, wanting to break these riders down. You've got to respond to this. And look at this, Randy Races Bikes at the moment putting a big move in here. Randy Gino, our leader of the series at the moment, really starting to try and hand this out on the way through. Got that polka dot jersey, so looking very, very good at the moment on the climbs. We're going to see if she can make this count all the way over the top here. The OTR racing team don't just ride bikes, they also put on races as well. Really big team, big squad, and great to see the strength in depth from all these teams out and racing here. Don't forget, of course, if you want to have a go at racing, jump on board get your avatar down onto that start line. There's one more race left on the Iceni Challenge next week. You can always jump on to the WOW Chain Gang. That's going to be led by Tracy Seeley this week, who rides for the Aeonian squad. Aeonian and Full Speed Events partnering this time around this season for the WOW Chain Gang. So if you want to have a go, the WOW Chain Gang is indeed back. If you pause the video, if you're not watching live, or scroll back to it, take a picture, scan that QR code. It will take you to all of the events that are the WOW Chain Gang. The WOW Chain Gang actually started back in 2020. The very first WOW Chain Gang had the Cycling Weekly Esports Rider of the Year, which was April Tacey in and racing, and you can watch that back. Please do jump on board and come and have a ride. It really is a great fun format. You can find out more. Emma will be there. She's actually set the routes out. She does the planning. We've got Aeonian helping us with all of the riders, the leads, the yellow and the red beacon. There's a pace for everybody. Everybody gets quicker on it, and we always seem to have a great laugh on there as well. Just part of that. So please do jump on board. Now, in with the leading riders up here. 12.9k covered, and over the top there goes Kate at the moment. It's leading this out now. It is going to be Randy Gino coming in. This is going to be a good point score here, because remember, this is across the line, and this is going to be second position out of 15. Here, there's going to be riders in this group not scoring points. The points run from first to 10th place: 25, 18, 15, 12, 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, and 1. And this is going to be really, really key. Pushing over the top here. And I think this is going to be for 6th and 7th place. 6th place is going to go to Parker. 7th place coming in over the line there, that's Robson. And then we're going to have a group of riders here. And Jem Pantaluk in here. You've got Alan. You've got Judy in here as well. This is going to be a real fight here. So Lupo, Alan, Pantaluk, as well as Judy, the Dino's riders. These 4 riders are going to be fighting. Looks to me like there's going to be riders who are not going to get points a little bit further back, but this is going to get the kick right here. You're going to be in the points. Big kick goes off the front here. Lupo's kicking at 7 watts per kilo, trying to open this up. Pantaluk's looking to respond here. This is going to be for the line. This is going to be for points here. Who's going to get those points? Looks like Pantaluk going over the line in 10th place, getting that last point. Alan getting a couple more points up there for that 9th place. A real big push. Really, really critical. So categories A and category B are coming up in towards the polka dot banner. This is at the top of the climb of the second of our climbs. So we had the Mayan Mountainside QOM. This is the finish of the Itza QOM. You can come and ride this on Zwift pretty much any time you want. It's one of the standard wheels in Watopia, the fantastic wheel dreamed up. It came from Jarvis Island way back in 2015. And have to admit, I wasn't riding very much on Zwift back then, not much longer after that. But Jarvis Island way back when, all the way through. And of course, it's 10 years this year for the Zwift program and for the Zwift game. And great to see how that's evolved, all of the different racing and the number of people who've got into sport from different places to go in and ride. Now, we're just in with category D leader at the moment. This is Savage. This is the leader at the moment of the series, an Evolution rider who I'm guessing he's going to be putting in a time around about the 47-minute marker for this course in its totality. Currently, interesting choice of wheels here. We've got the disc and the deep rim on the front. And that is going to make things interesting when you push on through and into those downhills on the climbs. It's a penalty. There's a lot of climbing, a lot of steep climbing, but Savage making this look easier at the moment, leading out this category D. 13 riders currently on that 5% section of the gradient. You can see it in front of the avatar out of the saddle. Savage stamps down on those pedals, keeping those revs turning 68 revs per minute. So really interesting comment coming in from Telma, and looks like having done the course this morning, super hard and lots of good climbers. Yeah, totally would agree with that. It is a hard course. There's a lot of climbing and it comes fast. And I think the way that the gradients have been laid out and the way that the course runs, because you've got this big pair of climbs that come pretty much halfway. The summit of the climb is almost exactly halfway into this route. You then drop off the side, and that's where you should see a chase in. So if we have got solo leaders, they've got to have a big gap. It's a big gap at the moment behind Savage. Zwift, Hannah, and Taylor at the moment. They are the riders in 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place on the road. They're going to need to really get a push on here because 18 seconds to Zwift. It's the rider on your screen at the moment that's got the closest gap, 18 seconds behind, almost equidistant behind. At 19 seconds is Hannah G, and then it's Taylor at 25. These riders really have been blown into 1s and 2s at the most out on the course here. Taylor continuing to push here, 63 revs per minute on this 2% slope. Can see Hannah G just in front of the Level Racing squad, looking like they're going to be able to potentially get together again. If Hannah G and Taylor can get together, that's going to give them some draft advantage on the downhill sections, on those fast sections. If they can do that, motivation as well, side by side. Savage kicks in the feather. She knows where she is out on this course. She knows that this is getting tough. Going to make the most of this. You want it to start and finish in use before you come off the climb. If the feather's employed when it's flat, it's doing absolutely no good at all. 10% gradient kicking in. That steep turn here. The feather lasts 30 seconds. 10% off your body weight. It makes a big difference when you're on those steeper sections of climb. You want it to go in. Steeper it is, the more effective it's going to be. So Savage from front from the Evolution Racing team. Rider in 1st place at the moment in category D, our standard category on the Iceni Challenge Race Series, part of the Warrior Games portfolio of races supporting women's sport. And great to see these riders all coming in and joining the Ionian riders in here. And Zwift at the moment, the rider currently sitting in 2nd place. This is a chase on at the moment. The hat, maybe not the most aero, but fortunately in game that doesn't actually make a difference what hat you've got on as to how fast you're going to go. Now, you can see the run for the line here by Savage. Big kick in here. Are we going to see an up and in power? No, sits and taps through super smooth. This is clearly a knows that it's going to get the maximum points. Doesn't put a kick in. Knows it's not about the time. That's a smooth bit of riding. Nice, smart riding. Not extending. Not kicking in too hard. Making sure that that run is done smoothly. Now, it's going to be Zwift. You can see this is a downhill section. -4%. You just pick up the pace and it kicks up again. Just coming in up to the line. That dip and that rise. Really forcing the riders. Making sure that they come up and down. All the races are brutal, says Franny Arena. And all the races, because I've had the pleasure of watching races 1 and 2 with your regular host, Emma Martin. Full Speed events have been absolutely brilliant. The ones I've been watching on the ZMS Esports Studio. The stream on there. Make sure you subscribe. Get to watch lots more racing as well. Make sure you get those comments in as well. Now over the top goes Hannah G. Then it's going to be Schaefer. Schaefer's going to take out top 5 position here coming through the line. Isha Iwa, the rider who was off the front coming in, getting a bit of sliding room, comes in nicely inside the top 10. Higgs 6th place. Great ride by Isha Iwa. Then Sarah J of the Herd chasing here. The Herd squad out and racing. Another of the big teams, big organising teams on Zwift. Make sure you give all these riders a fun. Jump on board, support the team, support these riders, because the more we support each other, the better we're going to find it is for all of our riders, and the more those riders are going to be motivated as well. Some really great characters on esports. Now, in through the line it goes Marshall, the coalition rider, goes in over the line in 8th place. TM's going to be in 9th at the moment, just tracking alongside. And you can see doing a good job climbing up here. The standard Zwift bike and wheels at the moment in action on the climb. They're relatively lightweight compared to some of the deeper wheels. And going to take a 9th place here, which should grab a couple of points here, which is all going to help, because when we get to the end of the race, those points count. So whilst we've got a chance as these riders are making their way up, let's have a catch up with our riders. And let's hear from one of our fantastic competitors today.
Hello, my name is Fanny. I started to do Zwift in the beginning of this year, and I could never imagine that it could be so much fun. I love that you're biking against other people. I love that you're competing. I love that you can push yourself really hard, and I get really motivated when I see someone and I want to push the limits a little bit extra. I want to beat them, I want to be fast, I want to be better, and I really like being a part of a team, so you can get help, you can get coaching, and you can get motivated and inspired from the other people.
A massive thank you to Fanny Josephine of the ESRT there. And it's so true, isn't it? I mean, whether you're a brand new rider, new to Zwift, and you're just jumping on for the first time, I think every one of us who rides on, so can remember our first few races going, oh, this is really great. There's somebody I can race against. Wherever you are, whatever level you are, that motivation of being able to do that, that convenience of being able to jump on board. If you really love it, get somebody else. Make it your mission this week. Go out. Find somebody else who maybe needs a little bit of support, maybe is struggling to get that exercise in, maybe just needs a little bit of community. Jump on board, get them on board, give them a go on your bike, on the turbo trainer. Jump on board, whether you've got one of the new Zwift ride bikes, whether you've got a standard bike on your turbo, whatever your setup is, get people on board and get them in and riding and get them out there, because the more people that ride, the better. The more, quite simply, people sitting on saddles who are out and riding on Zwift, and maybe they'll make the difference. I know certainly from the communities that we've been involved with, from the WOW to the chain gangs, it really is amazing the amount of support that goes out, whether you're a category A, B, C or D rider. That support is there, and it really can be an absolute lifesaver. So jump on board. It's really safe, it's really easy, it's really convenient, and it's a heck of a lot of fun, as you just heard from Fanny. So thank you very much, Fanny Josephine, for sharing your thoughts on the platform. Now, we're in with our Category A race leader, 20.9k covered, and that means we're coming in towards that final run to the line. So the points so far have been about collecting points fastest through the segment and then fastest across the line. So the first rider across the line basically scores the most points in the first two climbs. The last climb, well, we're back on to the Mayan Mountain QOM, and if you were paying attention, or if you managed to retain it in your memory banks, or you've learned it because you're going to be racing it, it's 2 kilometers long, average gradient of 3%. The points on that finishing line, though, 75 points down to 1. So the maximum point score is taking the fastest time through the segment, the fastest time and first across the line, and then to take the win. There's going to be a few riders that are really pushing on here at the moment. So you can just see in Category A, we've just seen our race leader go in and through up the climb. We've just seen Kate here head in the lead in Category B. You can just see our B-Cat runner behind now. Becca Nielsen pushing hard in that group behind. Interesting to see, not as hard as Kate, though Kate says something here. 4.2 watts per kilo. But the chasing group here, really interesting. These riders now, can they wind in the race lead? It's going to be a big old push here, 1 minute 14. But remember, the time gaps on Zwift are live time gaps, so they're not done by a fixed time past the point. Becca Nielsen here will know that when she pushes onto that climb, she could well bring that down. The time gap will be tumbling at the moment as the speed for the distance is diminished by the rider on the climb. The rider's here chasing in hard. Becca Nielsen, a really, really class rider for the coalition squad. Really will be looking to take away a lot of the points here. Good to see that Randy races bikes right in here. So this is going to be very, very quick. So here we go on to the climb. You can see the flashing beacon and the strip across the road there, going underneath the wheels of the riders. Now, this is the chasing group. Angie, we've got Miller in here, Neeson in here, Randy in here as well. Parker's only 3 seconds back at this stage. They're going to have to be pretty cool, calm and collected. Then we've got two riders together. You've got Alan along with our Electric Spirit rider sitting behind. Then you've got a pack of riders. It's going to be, in fact, at least 3. You've got Lupo, you've got Pantaluke, and you've got Judy in there. That group that we saw going over the summit have stayed together on the run in. This is Pantaluke's group. They have got riders in between. 30 seconds up the road is Alan and Robson, and then 1 minute up the road Here is the run with Randy in there. So at the moment, Jen, on the top of your screens from the Riders Pain Caves is chasing Randy. Randy's directly below on those Pain Cave screens, and you can see these riders getting ready for this big push up this climb. They're going to make their way in and through. And at the moment, Pantelip really revving it up, putting the power down here, looking to minimize the gap coming in. Lupo, Judy in with her. So it is 3 riders. Then Kristen D for ATP, currently 12 seconds down. Lowest Synergy also pushing hard here. This run into the climb, you can make time here if you keep on pushing, if you keep that energy going. This is really, really key. Remember, no climb goes on forever. It doesn't even matter if it's the grade or it's the Alp or whatever you're running on Zwift. It doesn't go on forever. What you need to do is make sure you focus. You know how far to go. You know you want to get over that line with nothing left. Minimize those time gaps down. Try and take away as many points as you can. You can see in Category C, interesting move here. Now, Meskova had the gap. Smith has closed that gap down and gone over the top here. So Nicholas Smith is kicking down hard here. You can just see 4.4 watts per kilo, 4.5, 360 watts being kicked out here by Smith. Meskova responds and comes past on the left-hand side, our right-hand side here. And the Galaxy rider starting to stretch out here. Smith has got to go with her. That's in Category C. Now, Category A, the front of the race, 22.9k, which means that we have got 700 meters left at the moment. So it's going to be Darth who's going to go in over that line first. Immediately behind, you can see that we got Kate pushing hard up towards the line. So this is the run for the line, and it is going to be Kate who goes through. So Darth going in and through. You got Kate out on the climb here. This is your Category B leader. So our Category A leader getting maximum points, sweeping up those points. Category B here. The battle is on behind. There's a real mix of riders, but it's going to be maximum points at the top here. This is going to be Kate coming in and through. The OTR Racing team rider hits the line. That's going to be maximum points. Great result, but this could be a lot closer and a lot tighter. We are on our way in. 700 meters to go, the same distance. You remember, we go up, it levels out at the very top of this climb. You're going to get your timing right, pace, power, getting the kick right, getting the gap in at the right time. Pressure on these riders now. Remember, this is going to be for second, third, fourth, and fifth places. There's big points on offer here. This can make a difference to the overall standings. They've got to get the timing right. We're coming in around this right-hand bend at the moment. And look at this massive go kick here. Randy out the saddle on the screen on your left. Out the saddle as the avatar and puts in that feather power up at the right time. It was steep. It was hard. And look at the gap that's been opened. This is how to open up a gap. This is how to accelerate in towards the finish. Going to take away maximum points. She was leading coming into this race. This is a monster kick. 7 watts per kilo coming over the top there. That feather now not going to be helping. But Miller, Angie and Neeson at the moment haven't got an answer to Randy. She can cruise to the line here. Great move by Randy Gino. Fantastic kick coming in. A masterclass. What a ride. What a finish. Second place coming in now behind. Here's the run for the line. Looks like Angie are going to be following Miller. Neeson comes over the line there in what is going to be fifth place. Don't forget all of the full results on Zwift page. You can catch up with all the league results on there. Go onto the Facebook page for the Warrior Games and all the links to the race manuals on there. All the course details as well and all the rules for our riders. So here we go. Parker on the way to the line, a Category B rider, currently making her way in 6th place at the moment. It's going to stay as 6th, puts in that arrow at the moment. Going to be maximum effect coming in. 15 seconds to the line. It's not going to even be that, as behind Robson in 7th place, Allen in 8th. That gap looks secure to me as they come into this tight right-hand turn. You can see the archway, that polka dot archway that signifies the end of the race here on challenge number 3 on the Iceni Race Challenge Series. Here we go. Now, our Electric Spirit rider Robson goes in. Then it's going to be Alan from West CC. Alan's going to take away 8th place behind 2 riders side by side. Were they watching? Are they going to do a Randy Gino and put in a massive kick, throw the feather down at the same time? Well, look at this. Jen Panteluk definitely has been looking at what to do, getting the kick in. But has she got enough now? She went hard there to push. There's an aero gone in. We've got an anvil gone in as well. It's not going to help, though, on this flat section. And the aero is the one that makes a difference here. That aero's just knocking 25% off the drag, the CDA. But is it going to be enough? Look at this kick, though. A massive push at 8 watts per kilo from Lupo to come in just ahead of Judy. And then it is going to be Jem Pantaluk who comes in over the line. Fantastic riding by our riders, giving it absolutely everything. And look at this, right behind them, Category C leader Smith has held them all up. Here she comes, held off Eklund, who's gone steaming up and through. Coming in towards the line, so Smith being chased here by Eklund into the line. Big sprint coming in, Frank and Hamilton on this climb as well. This is going to be absolutely critical, this last push. Looks like the gap is there, though. Cash at 14 seconds, Janine at 15. You got Overmo at 41. These riders spread out and around the course here, Category C. Great as always, and good to see Hamilton of the Kitty Hawk squad coming into this right-hand turn. She'll feel I'm sure the rider from New Zealand is coming in towards the line. Those hills in the background, reminiscent of those snow-capped hills in New Zealand. Now Cash making her way in around the turn. The Norwegian rider here for the WCC being chased by Janine from What Fabric here. This is a big kick here coming in. Has she got enough? She can't close that gap. It just shows you once you get over the top, you come through. So just going to do a quick recap for you of the places when we get to the end of the race. So please do keep on watching. We are going to be in coming into the line. A quick correction from me. Smith was second in Category C, coming in over the line, not first there. So just missed our first place rider just coming in. Apologies for that. But so much going on, as you can appreciate. Trying to watch all these things simultaneously, never the easiest of things to do. Got to be like one of those Apache pilots where your eyes go in different directions at the same time. Now, next rider in ninth place inside the top 10 for Hasselgus. It's going to be a Chalbois coming up here from Canada, who's going to round out the top 10 in Category C here. So, Chalbois with a 39-second gap to Fantucci. Then it's going to be another 10 seconds or so back to Thompson. And then another 20 seconds behind that to Armistead. So these riders with a pretty substantial gap in between. Fantucci putting that feather power up, just coming into these final slopes, saving it for the end of this climb. 240 watts pushing over the top here, carrying that speed and momentum in. Really critical here today. Great ride by Fantucci of the Galaxy squad. All these riders scoring points on the way through. Remember, the final climb here today is all about getting those points. 75 points, the maximum points here today. When we go to challenge number 4, a very similar format in the sense that we have got finishing points and we've got segment points. We've got a sprint segment next week, we've got a hilly QOM segment next week, and we've got that finishing line run with less points up for grabs on the finishing line. 50 points next week in the final one of the 4 of our Iceni race series. So make sure, ideally you're sat on the bike and racing. If you're not racing, please make sure you've hit that subscribe button on the ZMS Esports Studio stream so that you get notified every time ZMS Studio goes live with one of the many races that they cover. Fantastic support for women's sport from the ZMS Studios team. A real pleasure for us at Full Speed Events to be partnering with them, to be helping the team from Aeonian. As you see the Aeonian teammates on the climb here, you can see that we've got Radomski in here, Keller in the mix. We've got KG from Coalition. We've got our Art Rider in here, Watson. It's going to be interesting to see who's got the kick, who's got the timing right on this course. There's still points up for grabs here. Will we see a lead out from one of the riders? Oh, here comes the aero power up being pushed in, though. That's going to make a difference as you kick over the top here. So at the moment, this is about having the aero in at the right time. Good move by Alan Radomski with the big kick. We expect Megan Radomski of the Aeonian squad to put in a big power. Has she got enough? She's going to come over the top here of Alan. Alan put in the aero. She thought she had enough speed there, I think, but just finished it off with a little overtake there from Radomski. Good move by Radomski, hanging on in whilst the aero kick was put in there. But all these riders doing an amazing job out and racing today. And we've got to remember, every single rider on these runs in with 75 points down to 1. It's big point scores at the end, and every position, all these pedal strokes, they all count. They're all making everybody faster, making them quicker, because they're out there and racing. The best form of training. Get out and race. Jump on your bike. Jump on to Zwift. Jump onto the Iceni race series. Come and join us on the Wow Chain Gang, or any of them hundreds and hundreds of races that are on Zwift. It does make a big difference. It's a great way to stay motivated. If you are heading into a winter at the moment, wherever you are out in the world, then remember, it keeps you out of the rain. If you're heading into your summer and it's scorchingly hot, you're not going to go get sunburnt unless you put your pain cave outdoors so you can wind the roof back, because it's all about making sure that you've got the best way to train. It takes away a whole lot of those outside influences. If you can control the environment, you can maximize that training, you can get the most out, and you can move your way from category D right the way up to A. We see it happen time and time again. Now, next rider coming in, it's going to be our category C rider. 22nd place here today for Palmer of Coalition. 4 seconds ahead of Bridget, their teammate, coming in and through. Good ride by them. And I think it's not that long. In fact, it isn't that long. Here is Savage of the Evolution squad, who has gotten clear. Stay clear. Opening up the gap on the chasers behind. Now, 45.17 is the time at the moment. Time as Celine Savage needs to beat here to beat her previous best time on the course, 47.16. I think she's going to do that in Slough. Showed it was a very fast race here today. Our riders racing in 2 time zones, remember, on the Iceni race series. 8 o'clock UTC, Universal Time Clock, 1400 UTC, or 9 o'clock UK and 1500 UK. Now, here we go. Savage leading the race for Category D. Fantastic racing. More points in the bank. Even with my bad maths, that means an opened up gap at the top of the standings. Now behind Zwift and Taylor, the 2-level racing riders are on the way up here. Zwift and Taylor. In fact, on our screens, it looks like Taylor is in front here of Zwift. And behind Hannah G is at 4 seconds. The 3 riders from Level Racing very equal here, all the way out and around the course. Big kick coming from Taylor, going to score those big points here today in second position. Really working well. This is going to be the run for the line. Puts in the aero. Not sure she's going to need it. Got a 5 second, 6 second gap now. Back to Zwift. The Level Racing squad, Taylor, Zwift, and Hannah G are going to come in second place, in third place, and in fourth place, respectively, here. So only our series leader, Savage, able to go clear from the trio from Level Racing behind Schaefer here in fifth place. Has got a 27-second gap on our early leader, and that's Isha Iwa, who is currently in 6th place. Sarah J from the herd in 7th. And then we've got Marshall, not all that far behind, the Coalition riders out and around the course. Some really interesting battles, and there's time gaps that can be closed down and changed on the run to the line. So next in, Schaefer around the right turn. Gets the feather in, it's out the way, it's done and dusted. Great riding, course complete. Race in the bank, pedal strokes in the tank. And that's going to count when we go onwards. The more that you ride on the platform, the more that you race, the better you're going to be. Every time you race this, you just get that little bit more, knowing when you can push, knowing when you can rest, knowing when you need to go hard. Isha Iwa, the next rider, in 6th place here today, scoring points on, I suspect, absolutely every single one of our sections today. Remember, the first climb up this climb was the fastest through the segment, then it was first across the line at the Itza QOM, and then this is about being across the line. Isha Iwa in 6th. It's going to be Sarah J of the herd who's going to come in. Got a little gap here on Marshall for Coalition. Puts in the feather, puts in the kick. Marshall is coming behind. She's kicking at 5.3. I'm not sure she's going to make it. She's not. Sarah J goes across the line in 7th. It's going to be Marshall in 8th. Inside the top 10, great ride here by TM. Not all that far behind here. The gaps tumbling as they come down onto the climbs here. So don't forget, you can catch up with all of the race results and the league tables on the Zwift Power website. Really easy to get to. You can get that on the links from the website from the Facebook page for the Warrior Games. You can get there by going on to zwiftpower.com. And then if you go to the League tab and just drop that down, you'll find the Iceni Women's Series. There are 2 series in there, the APAC and the AMA stroke EMA. There's 2 different time zones. You can jump on board. You can see the standings, the riders, their power, where they are in the win. Really, really good to see, and really good to have a little look through that. And it's going to set us up very well, I think, for the final race. These points that are being scored today. Remember, we had 1 or 2 riders very, very close indeed. 1 or 2 riders tied in those league tables. And then give you an example, we've seen riders 2-3 points could separate you from a second to about a 7th. Coming into this race, we're going to see what that is in a little while. But just coming in to the finish, great ride, 9th place today by TM. Well done, great to see that Zwift bike in action, where we all start off at the start of our racing and riding careers, and then changing those. And without geeking out on the bikes too much, it does make a difference, guys. Make sure you do your homework. Different bikes, different courses will go quicker, will go faster. It's that little incentive to keep on riding, getting up those drops, getting up those points so that you can go into that garage and equip it, not just with your favourite bike. I know pretty much everybody does that, and we buy the bike we've always wanted. I went in there and bought myself a bike that I've always dreamed of, only ever had it virtually in the Zwift garage. But remember, you can do also a little bit of homework and get the best bike to give you the best performance and turn those watts into speed. So do jump on board, have a look. There's some great sites out there. Zwift Inside, always great on their GP Lomo, some great stats as well. Shane Miller. Don't forget, of course, that you can jump onto the various Facebook communities, the Warrior Games, the Iceni pages. Don't forget, of course, the Warrior Chain Game supportive as well. Our riders on the way in and through. Let's take a look at our leaderboards now. Today, on the race, coming in category A, Tina Jara taking top spot on the Mountain QOM, on the Itza QOM, and at the finishing line. And that means she overtakes Jill Pruitt here, moving in to top spot, 250 to 246 points. Only 4 points separating them. Then it is just under 60 points back to Gemma Thompson. Thompson 192 in 3rd place. Then you can see below the riders still with work to do. 192 for Thompson, 122 for Phil Brake. Then Lois Brewer at 116. Mail at 109, 98 and 82 for Bridget Widrick and Dick Kim, respectively. So a big points haul here today in category A for Tina Jarrath. I bet she wishes she could have all those race wins like that. Take the whole lot. Now, here we go. The live leaderboard is updated. Real interesting mix. Randy Gino taking top spot on the fastest through the segment on the Mayan Mountain QOM, then taking 2nd place on the Itza QOM, which was over the line, and then taking 2nd at the finishing line. 370 points is the result. We saw Becca Neeson take 2nd place on that Mountain QOM, down in 5th place in the Itza QOM, and matching that with the 5th place at the finishing line. Sits in 2nd place, 322 points. Angelique Nell at the moment holding on to that 3rd place, 278 points. Getting a nice 5th place in that Mayan Mountain QOM. And a good finish, a 3rd in the Itza QOM and a 4th place in the finish line QOM. Really pushing up there. Good to see Kitty Cake moving up into the top 8 at 207 with that 2 good scores. It's a QOM and the finish line win there. Kitty Cake, our winner in category B. Fantastic ride by her at the finishing line, going in and over. Remember, all these points totals and all these positions are provisional at the moment, courtesy of the team at zwiftpower.com. Thank you very much to everybody behind the scenes there, making it all happen. Now, in category C, real interesting race by Zuzka Meskova, really pushing on. We saw Nicola Smith come back past her on the final climb after Meskova took the win on the first 2 segments. Smith taking a 2nd place on the Itza QOM, really chasing down Lily Franken up in the top 3 on the first of our segments, sitting in 5th place in the second of the segments and taking a fourth place on that finishing line means that it's Meskova with 307 ahead of Lily Franken, 287, and Nicola Smith at 272. However, it's not all over by any stretch of the imagination, and there is about 100, just over 100 points, just under 100 points between 6th place and 1st place. That is going to be a real interesting battle. I think that is going to be a real fight. Remember, 75 points on the line at the finish here. It's 50 next week, so less on the finishing line, but there's some big points to pick up, of course, on the way through. Can they top Meskova at the top of the standings? In Category D, another great battle in Category D. Natalie Taylor taking away the fastest time up the climb of the Mayan Mountainside QOM, pushing Celine Savage into 2nd place at that point. Savage responding with the fastest time over the Itza QOM and the first over the finishing line. That means that she pushes up. Taylor not out of the top 3 all the way through. Neither was Lydia Smith. Lydia Smith getting a great points haul here today. Moving into 4th. Sarah Hoffman stays in 3rd place. Hoffman pushing away into those top 5 standings on the first of the climbs, top 10 on the 2nd and 3rd climb here today. Coming in and through, taking that 3rd place. Taylor in 2nd, Savage leading out 345 points, 30 points clear of Natalie Taylor, who has got right behind her Hoffman and Zwift. Hannah not all that far off. Then it's Schaefer, Marshall, Webber and Heathcote. Quick reminder, if you are going to come and race on the Iceni, please guys, keep your name the same. Even if you change it in the week for a race, keep your name the same. Turn it back for the Iceni. It makes the guys' job very easy. Imagine they've got to match up you to your name and you keep changing it. It does make it a bit difficult. So please, if you can, make sure that you keep your name the same at the same race series. The organisers will thank you a lot. It makes a massive, massive difference. And got to say, a massive thank you to everybody behind the scenes who makes it happen. A massive thank you to the team at Zwift. A big thank you to, of course, the Ionian race team. You saw them in action here today. You see them in action in pretty much every race. You can see them out taking victories and supporting each other together. They are indeed stronger, run by women for women. And their leader, the figurehead at the top, is Carla Williams. A massive thank you to Carla for putting together the Iceni race series, the Boudica. Don't forget, of course, we at Full Speed Events, I'll support the sport, is part of making this happen. And, of course, the Wow Chain Gang, where we partner with the Ionian race team. So please do scan the code, jump on board, tell a friend, come and ride it, and come and see what everybody raves about when they've been on it. It's always great to see riders there. Final thank you, though, to ZMS Esports Studio. Absolutely groundbreaking, next level streaming. Make sure that you give them a subscribe, hit that button. Now, Emma, at the moment, if you missed the start of the show, out in Zurich, so please do give that a watch. You can catch up with the groundbreaking women leading the commentary for the UCI for the very first time at the Paralympic Road World Championships from Zurich. Emma is there at the moment. You can follow her at Biking Emma. Don't forget to follow at ZMS Esports Studio. Follow the Ionian at Ionian Racing, and of course at the Warrior Games. And you can follow me. That's Matt Payne. And it's been a pleasure to be here. A real honour to be putting words to the action. Follow me at Matt Fixer Payne across social media. But from me, from round number 3 of the Iceni race series, we'll see you again for race number 4 next week. Stay safe. Goodbye.